Hello everyone. Please confirm if you can see me and hear me. Uh, Press yes on chat if you can see me. Can somebody see? Yes. Thank you, Dinakaran. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you, Kingsley. Thank you, Kingsley. So all of you, a very warm welcome to all of you on this Tuesday evening today. We are starting a special series of which we're calling testing in X. And X keeps changing. That means how do we test? Today going to discuss how do we test streaming, and we're going to discuss in future we're going to test how do we test robotics, how do we test blockchain, how do we test fintech, how do we test in insurtech, how do we test in regulation tech. So we're going to change domains through this podcast, AMA kind of sessions with experts. So before we go into today, which is the proper streaming platform which you use today? Anyone from India, Nigeria, outside of India, please share which is the popular streaming platform you use today. So you can mention this in chat here. AWS. I'm saying streaming, Priya, and I'm not saying a cloud-based thing. I'm saying a streaming platform like a Netflix or Amazon Prime. What's the most popular streaming platform you folks use today? Netflix, yeah. Anybody else wants to share? Hotstar, yeah, right. Hotstar, Netflix, very good. So folks from India, Zoom, not so much. Zoom is a more of a meeting platform. I'm saying streaming platform for content because we're going to talk about how to test in streaming and what are the innovations and challenges which people are doing there. Cool. So thank you all for your responses. I'll quickly share about test drive and the speaker, Pramod today. So just give me a moment. I'll share my screen. So please confirm if you can see my screen. Folks, if you can see my screen, okay, not yet. Can you see my screen now? Thank you so much. Let's start. Folks, a very warm and formal welcome to all of you into this Ask Me Anything session with Pramod Kumar, who is an AVP SDET at FanCode. We're talking today testing the stream, and when I say stream, I say streaming. A deep dive into QA and release engineering in streaming. Okay. We're doing this in collaboration with BrowserStack, who are our premium sponsor for all our conferences and exclusive sponsor for all our community events. It's due to companies like BrowserStack that we're able to do so many of such events at scale. If any one of you is keen to know more about BrowserStack, their products, and want to evaluate a few of them, please feel free to reach out to our team, myself, my team members, Mahesh Maurya, and others. About us, the Test Tribe is the world's largest software testing community turned a tech platform. We have a simple mission. We want to give the testing craft the glory it deserves, which we believe can happen when we co-create together with you smarter, prouder, and more confident testers. We take immense pride in solving for upskilling and growth for testing professionals all over the globe through unique offerings like event series, membership, courses, cohorts, mixers, community spaces. We've done close to 400 plus events, which includes events at all scale, high scale online events, high scale offline events, meetups, hackathons, and a bunch of others. We intend to provide life-altering growth to every single testing professional on the planet through community and technology. This is about Final Circle. Final Circle is our exclusive paid membership for members who are seeking top growth. It includes a bunch of initiatives which makes you solid AI ready, which makes you more multifaceted tester, gives you mentors, gives you projects, and exclusive high-performing community access. Next up, we have Confix, which is our virtual conference, which is happening on 12th to 20th of April, where we are trying to deep dive into future of testing. We have speakers lined up from Microsoft, other Mang companies, AWS, BrowserStack, EPAM, Piramal Capital, to name a few. They're extremely able senior folks who are going to talk and discuss about how they visualize future of testing, while future is uncertain, it might be a good idea to pick their brain and see what's in store. Again, Ajay needs no introduction. He's a veteran in the software testing industry. He's doing his second batch of Lead with Impact, a leadership workshop on for building QA leadership skills. It's not generic leadership skills workshop. It's a workshop focusing on QA leadership. And next, we're doing a hackathon with UiPath, which is an AI-driven test hackathon, test automation hackathon. This is happening over 2 days. We already have 50 plus participants. It's happening on the end of next month, and expect about $10,000 of total rewards. So my team will drop all the links. Please feel free to sign up for them. About the speaker, Pramod, as I mentioned in the beginning, he's an AVP SDET at Test and Engineering at FanCode. He has over 13 plus years of experience, and he leads release and test engineering at FanCode, which is a leading sports streaming platform by Dream Sports. Dream Sports, for people in India, is the parent company of Dream11. His mission is to deliver flawless and secure products to millions of sportsmen across India and beyond. And he has successfully built and managed test automation, exploitation, production support teams at FanCode, and streamlined the release process. So without further ado, let me call Pramod on stage now. Hold on for a second. Hey Pramod, you're on stage.
Yeah, thanks Asutosh for a generous introduction about myself. So just to keep on add in that how Dream Sports Group. So if you guys are aware of, Dream Sports Group is a parent company of Dream11. So as a Dream Sports Group, we are the ones that are serious about sports. So if in chat I have seen everyone was talking about Netflix, Hotstar as the OTT platform, but the content that you're getting on these platforms are not very specific to sports. They are not very much serious about the sports. If you go and check that which is the platform that is streaming F1, F1 is Formula One that is there. So FanCode is the platform that is like the most premium sports that is in the industry, F1, that FanCode is streaming on. Another thing that if you are a football fan, you can see Carabao Cup final was streamed by FanCode. And
Yeah.
if you're new to क्या कहते हैं, sports field, pickleball is the new sport that is getting popular, and you can watch the live content on uh, pickleball on FanCode
Yeah.
itself. That's the
Yeah.
quick introduction about FanCode, where I've been working from last 3 years. If I have to give my introduction about the things, I have seen the journey from e-commerce to quick e-commerce. I've been started working with Snapdeal to Grofers, Blinkit, Zomato, whatever the name that you want to call it right now. And right now, from last 3 years, I've been part with the Dream Sports Group and taking care of heading their test and release engineering team, and specifically working on streaming of the things, how live streams worked, how VOD content is worked. You will be also knowing about what is ad tech, what is Cutty,
Correct.
how we can do that. This
Correct.
is
Correct.
Ashutosh.
Got it. Got it. Understood. Thank you for introducing Dream Sports to all of us. Promote. That's a nice introduction, and we're glad to know about that. So, folks, today we're going to talk about testing and streaming. And FanCode, as Pramod mentioned, is streaming Formula One, which is one of the most premium sport in the world, which talks about where cars at an amazing fast-paced pace, and which has a huge fan following in India and outside of India. And there are about 20 races which happen, and then there are a bunch of other sports also, which like Pramod mentioned are covered on fans and FanCode. In total, we're talking about 60-70 million users on FanCode. So imagine the kind of streaming scale which they have, and hence we thought it will be a great idea to have Pramod on stage and talk about how FanCode, how testing is done at FanCode, and streaming is testing is done at streaming. So, Pramod, my first question to you is, which is my first set of questions is going to be around streaming specific challenges, streaming specific QA strategy. Okay, folks, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A tab. Try and ask questions around the streaming area, so that we keep it focused there. If there are generic questions, I'll try and take it in the end. So, how is QA or testing in streaming different from other other let's say other domains, other industries?
So it involves a lot of things. When you're talking about VOD content versus a live content, there is a lot more difference. If you talk about Hotstar and Netflix, particularly, they have more video content. Plus, now they started streaming cricket match, so live event is also part of there. So the one difference that I can tell you in terms of testing your live events or making sure that you are on point with a particular time, because live stream has a expiry date. If you are streaming any match, it starts with an expiry time. Like if you are watching an IPL match, it will consist of 3 hours. On those 3 hours, you have to be up and you have to be uh, doing a lot of things. If I have to get into the technicalities of the things, you can get the stream from your satellite. Then that link should be downlinked, and after downlinking that link, you need to have encoded. Then in which format you want to stream your URL, HLS, SRT. Then you have to also take in account that which kind of player that will be able to decode the URL that you are getting on the different platforms. Like if you talk about, there are particular two, you can say, most popular, you can say, protocol that is there in streaming, that is HLS and Dash. These are the two basic platforms, you can say, protocol for streaming your event that is available there. The next closest to is SRT. So particularly if you want to stream events particularly on your um, Apple ecosystem, then HLS stream is the best part of it. You need to have a video player that is compatible with this HLS stream. Then if you want to go into Android based ecosystem plus web based system, then you have a Dash player in the same. And if you want to get more into deep, like there are a lot of more platform that is you will see that is not very much common for your e-commerce system, is your TV and the tablets. Tablets, you can say that e-commerce still you can browse that website, but on TV it's not that you will be browsing your e-commerce website. So when you get into the streaming, there are a lot of TV platforms that gets very crucial. Same for LG, Samsung, then you have Geo, STB. There are a lot of hardware is there, and in TV there is very much, you can say hardware restriction is also there in terms of TV system also. Then I've still talked about till now is your satellite protocol plus your video GS player that you have in the place. Then it's also that if you are running an ad tech platform on it, how you are stitching your ads with your live streaming. That is another thing. Whether you are using dynamics server side injection or a client side injection. On that point of view, there is a lot of things that's get into the picture. If you get into ad tech also, there is different segregation of ads as well. Pre-roll, mid-roll, what kind of क्या कहते हैं कि ads that you want to get in. So a lot of things is there when you are testing any live stream.
Got it. Understood. Understood. So broadly speaking, I've tried to summarize for people is one is of course the kind of inputs which you get from, let's say, satellite links, etc. That's one part. Second, which I have also mentioned in my research, is about device fragmentation, because there are a lot of devices. The
Correct.
streaming, it happens on mobile phones and tablets and TVs and web, and then of course there are other categories also.
Sure.
And then then there's about ad tech. When Pramod is saying ad tech, he's saying advertisement technology, and how
Correct.
the ads are loaded, when are they loaded mid-roll, are they loaded somewhere else. So okay, again, that's a very technical thing. They are not loaded manually, so they're loaded through algorithms, etc. That's the next thing. And of course, things like traffic spikes, etc. are are common challenges which we see in streaming. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll first go to the easier question, which I had initially mentioned in the later questions. But
Mm.
how do we test or simulate real world conditions, let's say, like poor network, because let's say if I'm going to a basement or if I'm coming from a basement, but how do we test and simulate those kind of scenarios, and how does device fragmentation tested in case of streaming, because they're not just mobile devices. While they're applications, there are a lot of other hundreds of other form factors which are into play. So how are these two things taken care of?
So first I will go to your, you can say what you're talking about, network problems. Okay.
Correct.
So when you are doing QA and those kind of things, you can have tools that enable you to test the throttles that is there. So based on क्या कहते हैं कि devices capability plus network speed that you can have it, in the video players we try to adjust what will be the starting bit rate. Okay, that will ensure that your startup time is fast. You won't face any huge increase in your startup time, plus buffering that you feel while watching any streams. So to test these out, first is the throttle is the one way that we use to test on these devices. Another things that is that you need to test these things using your A/B experiment, because in, you can say in the office you have like 20 devices at most will be available for you to test this out. But your audience can range from Jammu to Tamil Nadu with the different devices, different, you can say geographical location, different network speed, different hardwares that will be there based on the geographics that you have in the place. So best place to monitor your skill is just to have A/B experimentation on the things that you are working out and track the whole data from your black screen plus high startup time plus your SPI. So there are certain available analytical tool that is available there on which you can have monitoring of each match that you are streaming on the platform, and in the retro we can take the decisions like that. If we are facing any high startup time, we can go back into our tech that what is the pre-roll timeout or those things that we have in the place. You can have the segregation based on devices, you can get a segregation based on geographics. In that way you try to optimize your setting, that if you are on a mobile device with the wi-fi connection in the place, this should be your 520 or 720 can be your starting bitrate. If you are in a mobile device or certain location, your starting bitrate cannot be 720, it should be start with 240. What should be your, you can say, bitrate ladder should be there, and it depends on what kind of streaming that you are getting also. It is also
Correct.
dependent on that. Yeah, you can say that for the F1 stream, we are getting like a bandwidth of more than, you can say, 3 Mbps average bit rate plus 50 FPS that you are getting. But if you are streaming a match that has only, you can say, 1080 pixel 25 ps with the average bit rate of 1.5 Mbps. In that way, there is a lot of adjustment bit ladder that you need to take in account to have this position, test these streams on different
Got,
devices.
got. Understood. Understood. Uh, Thank you for that. The next question is Pramod, which was asked by an attendee also. So I take that question. Which is my question also is, how do you test at scale? How do you test at scale? What are the specific things, parameters you check when it comes to live streams? Because like when it comes to live streams, right, the scale is not constant. It doesn't start from a, it doesn't start at scale, or scale is keeps changing. Like when Dhoni comes to bat, example, the scale suddenly increases. How do you test that? And what are the specific things and parameters one checks when it comes to live streams?
Okay, based on the traffic, I will say that we have different scalar systems in the place that works on data science predictable models that give us a, you can say, prediction based on the time as well. That we know that if it's a F1 practice match, we know that the peak of the users will be in this pattern, and if it's a final day race, the and someone like Lewis Hamilton placed finished at number one, he is at a pole position at the race, then we are expecting a lot of more. In that way, we have predictive analysis based on data on the backend system by which we can scale the systems out. But on if you talk about video players on the client side, there is not that much impact on the scale side of it. There can be the things that we monitor remains the same. That's how I talk about that. What is your uh, startup time? What is the buffering? What is, you can say, is there any bad frames, why black frames that is there, your audio video is sync or not. So in that way, as I've told you, we have the analytical tools in the place that's on the real time. Conviva is one of the tools that give you on real time these matrices, and it's correlate and gives you a SPI score of live stream as well. That's give you a parameter based on 100 that how well your stream on the different devices is. If your score is above 85, is that you have streamed a good match. And if it drops to 60, 70, then there can be issues related to buffering or a high startup time, bad streams, or you can say your video player is getting stuck, there is a frame drop or FPS issues. These will be highlighted on the scene.
Got it. Understood. Understood. Pramod, thank you for putting this FPS point light in the end. It's my segue to the next point. So I used to work for a semiconductor company 4 years back, and we used to test games. And there was always a challenge when we test games for a semiconductor company that okay, if you improve the performance of the game, if you reduce frame drops, the battery consumption will increase, the thermal
Yes.
consumption will increase. It will heat more, it will good that. What's the approach of testing these two trade-off features, which is high performance and low battery consumption, low thermal consumption? So how do we test this in context of streaming?
So it's in context of trimming, it's based on that how efficient your device is. Okay. So there are different platforms and different profiles that we get based on the devices is usually it is not that intensive. If you when you compare with the games, your smoothness of the game is like usually games require 50 or 60 fps where your
Correct.
whole experience is that interactive. But when you are live streaming anything, you're not interacting with that video. Okay. So in that, I will not compare live streaming directly with the video fps that you have in the place, but it will tell you if you have a 50 fps live stream versus a 25 fps live stream, you will be able to see that the stream that is as 50 fps is like buttery smooth. You are able to क्या कहते हैं, see every transitions of your bowler walking in or your midfielder passing that ball to the striker. In that way it will be a lot more smooth, but it won't create that much difference. But yes, for the F1 users where it's like a blink of second, they want to track it, everything. So in that case, it creates a lot of sense. In cricket, or I will say in other sports it won't be that crucial, but for F1 it's crucial because where we have a high speeding, you can say a racing car are there that are moving very fast. So that's why FPS for live streaming F1 is very important. We are streaming at a higher bitrate, higher FPS rather than the other sports that we have in the place. And in terms of when we are talking about memory consumption and these kind of things, particularly we try to cater and create a fragmentations around it. If you know there is a F1 match, you know the premium sports is there where we focus not on consumption and heat kind of things. It is very niche kind of sports where every you can say the fans that are watching F1 have their setup and things enabled to watch it at a higher FPS speed and those kind of things. But when you are doing like tier 3 or tier 4 5 matches, where we try to have not to stream at a very FPS, you can say, centric place. And we also know that the fragmentation of these users that come to watch these kind of matches may have low end devices. That's how I told you to start with low bit rate and क्या कहते हैं, have
got
क्या
it.
कहते हैं, in that way. And in another thing is that in the streaming space you also have a fallback of the things. Like I haven't still talk about like there is a DRM stream also. Okay, so DRM is, you can say, a stream. If in the layman terms, if I have to tell you that uh, if you take a screenshot of your live streaming match, you will
Hmm.
get a black screenshot. Okay,
Got
so that's
okay, got
the
it. Yeah,
accuracy major that you have in the place. So we take the decisions on the things that if we are streaming a DRM streams, that needs to have a license decoder to decrypt that script. Okay.
got it.
In that
Understood.
way, take the conscious decisions between to which user, which match that we want to stream at which things. We need to have a server side ad insertion or a client side ad insertion, because server side ad insertion is a lot more, you can say, costlier. If we have a better hardware, then we can go for a client side of server injection. In that way we try to क्या कहते हैं कि have the strategy for different sports, different matches that we are streaming, and for what user that we are streaming. In that way we take a call.
Got it. Understood. The next question, which is a broader question, I think which you can answer broadly first, and then probably we can go to specifics. Is how is automation testing done in OTT platforms, or let's say streaming platforms? How is that streaming? How is automation testing done in streaming platforms?
So in automated system, I will say that segregate into two parts. One is your functional testing, or you can say functional testing remains with the traditional way that you have in the place, whether you are using UI automation or you are using API to do your testing. But there are certain limitations through API and UI automation is that they are not able to test the video player, or you can say backend side of streamings. For that, we have built internal toolings that help us to kind of simulate that behavior. Like we have to create an encoder, then we have to create a DRM stream, then we have to do a ad insertion based on the things and test those things out. So for that, we have built an internal tooling. We call it FC Butler. Butler is you can say a tool that we have built that help us to test these streams, and we have built another tool that is multi-viewer, where you can have like on the single screen you can have like 15, 20 small screens video players ingested, and we are able to relate with monitor audio or the video syncs that you have in the place. In that way I will say it's not a generic tool that is available that solves everything out. If you want to go to the certain tool that is available, there is one tool that is Falcon Eye that is created by Tata Elxsi to solve certain things of it, but that is also like way past. But every, you can say, Geo Hotstar, Netflix, everyone has built their own tooling to set these things.
Got it. Understood. Understood. Folks, you can ask your questions. I think there are a lot of interesting questions coming in, and there are a lot of curious questions coming in. So please feel free to ask your questions to promote about your curiosity in general about how do we test in streaming and how do we in general streaming engineering looks like. So this is your space, okay? Very interesting question from again. And if you can mention your names, I think it will be better. Then this is a safe space. Nobody's going to make a judgment here. So please feel free to share your name so that I can mention who's asking the questions. Just a minute. Yes. So somebody looked up fan code while we were talking, and it seems like a lot of matches are streamed.
Yeah.
Uh, does this require a lot of manual operations? I don't think this requires a lot of manual operations. Pramod will
Uh,
correct me.
the
And
key
how
is
do we monitor? How do we monitor so many streams, mainly from a visual standpoint rather than device performance?
okay. So yes, there are a lot of क्या match that gets streamed parallelly. If I have to talk about Over the
Yeah.
weekends, we have streamed like 100 matches, 100 live matches that we already achieved last year. So, yes, there are a lot of matches. For that, I've already told that the whole system to create these things is already automated. Plus, we have also built certain tooling that help us to monitor these things, these streams parallelly. We have created the tools that gives the automatic alert if there is anything goes wrong on the Slack, or alerting platform of GD that we have in the place. And to monitor specifically the key matrices, we have Conviva as a tool that gives all the insights for us to have the SPI scores for different matches that we have streamed.
Got one question around. I was talking to to my team today. That, okay, we have this session. What kind of questions you will ask, like to ask them also? Somebody mentioned that how do we test accessibility when it comes to streaming? How do we ensure accessibility, or is that not in the cards right now?
For e-commerce, that is the norm that you need to have the accessibility there.
Correct.
But if you talk about live streaming, it's already sound is there. Okay, if you are not able to get the key in that way, it's not, I will say, a P0 P0 kind of things. But now government has started making some norms around these accessibility for OTT players as well. Okay, so that they will
Got
be
it.
able to access the video player's controls, volume, start and seat bar. In that, they are trying to क्या कहते हैं, come up with the accessibility um, norms as well, but they are not as strict as for a e-commerce company, that I will say.
Got it. Understood. Understood. And this question, okay. Uh, I'll come back to automation again.
Yeah.
Can you share some? Can you share a challenge? Let's just zoom out a little bit for people to engage more. If you can share two challenges, one in streaming when it came to automation, how did you overcome it? And one across your career, what kind of challenges did you see in automation and how did you overcome it? So one challenge in streaming in automation and one outside of streaming, how did you overcome it?
So particularly first I will talk about in the streaming. In the streaming, it's the biggest challenge is the amount of platform that you have to work on. Plus there are different compliances with the different platform that you are working on. That I've told you that if you want to stream on a iOS platform, you need to have a HLS stream that is compatible with your video player. If you want to get into like LG or Samsung, then you need to work on Samsung Tizen compatible video players. There is not, I will say, a single source to क्या कहते हैं कि, validate the things out. You need to have a separate, you can say, give time to test these things out and automate even things as well. In the TV, the most you can say feasible automation that you can think of is on Android TV. Okay, that is the only platform that provides you to automate these flows that you have in the place. Rest the other platform, there is no definitive way to automate the things out. In that way, we have to stick to exploratory testing plus the backend or API systems that we have in the place to test the things out. And if I want to get into like not particularly from the streaming side, the things that I've faced in automation is no one counts in the maintenance, or you can say the how much bandwidth is needed to maintain those automated test cases. That is the challenge that I've seen when I'm not particularly talking about streaming, because in streaming you can say that the video player functionality is limited, but in other things there is when you everyone is excited about we have automated like 2000 test cases, but no one's taken account that if anything gets changed or any flow
Yeah.
is altered, there is a lot of effort that's get into to maintain those 2000 test cases. You get the bandwidth to automate a new scenario, but no one's count in the
Counting
effort
us for
that
the yeah.
mm, you need to have for the maintenance of these 2000 test cases that you have in the place. That is the outside. streaming that I feel that is the biggest general challenge that is exists in this
Got
world.
it. Yeah. The next question is from again anonymous. What is this? Is what are the skill sets someone would require to become a QA in the OTT live streaming space? I would say I would modify this a little bit.
Hmm.
What is the differential skill? Because let's say QA skill will anyways be needed, but what is the differential skill as compared to other industry which is needed for someone to become a tester in a let's say QA OTT space?
I will say that knowing the system design in and out, that is a different thing because uh, e-commerce app you browse every day. Everyone is somehow related with Amazon, Mintra, shopping the things out. But we are not directly know the system behind streaming a live match because you can't stream things out right now. Okay. So, particularly when I talk about QA, I'm talking about exploratory tester first, then I will get into the automation kind part
Automation,
of it.
correct.
So, currently I'm talking about the exploratory part of things where your subject matter expert or how well you know the system is very important from even from the user point of view as well as from the backend side as well. So when you talk about e-commerce or other things, it is relatively everyone use it in day-to-day life and very much familiar about the things. But as I've told you, there is a different kind of protocol that is used to transfer your live stream packets. There is a different, you can say, problems that you try to क्या कहते हैं कि encounter in testing the things out, that which player is there, what kind of stream is getting ingested, and particularly when you talk about live streaming, ad tech is another main part of it. You need to know that how these ads get stitched with your stream and how they get produced. So I will say this subject matter expertise that should be there. Plus,
Correct.
you need to क्या कहते हैं कि, take it account like using a lot of tools to simulate the things. Whether you are using MITM proxy to क्या कहते हैं कि break your request, insert the thing, whether you should in the automation side I will not say there is very straightforward tools to automate these things out, but you need to have the capability to build the internal tools that help you to test these things out. Okay. For
Got it.
particular aspect, I will say it's more on building the internal tools that will help you out to test these streams or these video players that are very specific, very generic in nature. Not
Got
generic
it.
in nature. Yeah.
Got it. Understood. So I think you're broadly saying two skills. One is the ability to understand system design, and second is of course the domain knowledge, which
Yeah,
one
domain
should have.
knowledge is the biggest क्या कहते हैं कि I will say when you get into the exploratory. Plus, your technical capability to you can say use different tools like whether it's Charles proxy in SDET, it's like building the tools that can solve your particular things. You need to have
Got it.
the yeah, inside knowledge of video JS player, Dash player, how they work, how they
Got
communicate
it.
with streams in that sense.
Got it. Understood. This is a question I share. I missed to share earlier. Unlike video on demand, when I say video on demand, it's Netflix, let's say Amazon Prime, Hotstar, etc. Jio Cinema. Live streams are real time and the time is of the essence. Okay, that it needs to be delivered to people then and there.
Yeah.
How do you again this is again a trade off that how do you ensure quality without consuming so much of data, which is directly related to money for a lot of people. So how is that trade off maintained from an engineering standpoint?
Mm, unlike Netflix, so I will say we do have a VOD contents. Okay, once your match gets streamed, then
Correct.
that highlight
That
that
was
you
video.
have in place, that is a VOD.
Is VOD.
Video
Correct.
on
That's
demand
VOD.
we
Correct.
have in place. But the difference between live streaming plus your packaged highlight is that in your package highlight you can say you have a way to edit the things that is going wrong while live streaming the things. You have the क्या कहते हैं कि capability to cut the things and क्या कहते हैं कि add any things that you want to do it in any VOD content that you have in the place. But when you are streaming क्या कहते हैं things there, then there has to be things that needs to be done. I will say very instantly. The same thing, if I will say that if you are running an, you can say, a live streaming match where you are using die as your server side insertion mechanism, and it somehow fails. Okay, for failure there can be the reason that Vastag is not getting the ads fill from server side, or your provider is not inserting any ads on that. So in that way, you have to dynamically have the switchover of the streams. That's why we have a backup streams, clean streams. In that way, we have to have different type of streams that is there. But when you are talking about the consumption of the data, I will say if you are watching a VOD content and if you are watching a live streaming match, there is not very difference between the amount of data that has been consumed to have it. Usually on the VOD, usually you have a high resolution stream, that is high resolution content that is getting played. It will already consumed more, you can say, memory in the terms. But in terms of live streaming, based on your network bandwidth, we take the decision that whether we want to get the stream at low bitrate, high bitrate, at 240 pixel. That's why usually in these OTT players you have the recommended setting as auto. Okay,
Got
if
it.
you get directly in the setting, you go to like full HD 1080 pixel, then it will be consuming a lot more data. That is,
Got
even your network is not providing, or you can basically say if you have a 2 GB data, you can't go about. That's why if you go about Geo, that they have taken a strategic decision that in the 4K itself their quality is on the lower side, because they know if they are going to stream real 4K, the data consumption is will be very 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 high.
Got it. Understood. Understood. I'll now go to more generic questions, Pramod, because I think we have discussed streaming in quite a heavy tech. I think our people have enough excitement now to, let's say, study more after this event. I'll go to more generic things now. So, how do you introduce the culture of the next segment is about leadership and culture. I'll take one or two questions there, and then the last segment about AI in QA in general. Your views around that. So, how do you introduce the culture of SDET at FanCode? Uh, how did you drive that shift? What changes did you see? Or how did you build out of that resistance in general?
Okay, so there is a lot of difference between how we perceive an estate is there. So based on the people that are working in the testing domain, I have categorized like three categories of the peoples. First category, I say the peoples that write the test cases, that do the exploratory testing. There is nothing like manual testing, so I refrain from calling it. There is nothing exists like a manual testing, so I call them as a exploratory testers that test the things, that have the domain knowledge. That is the one set of people that is available there. Second set of people that are available there is, I call them as a automation engineer. Automation engineers are the people that have the basic knowledge, or you can say basic expertise on any of the tools that help you to automate the test cases that you have written, whether it's Selenium, APM, rest assured, Playwright, Cypress, or any kind of automation tool that they have in, and they are able to write the scripts and automate the test cases that they have in the place that they used to run in the regression scheme. Then there is a profile that is SDET. If you go by its name itself, it is software development engineer in test.
In
So
test,
the
correct.
yes, so when you talk about SDET, the things like creating the tools for your testing productivity, CI/CD, managing your test environments, plus automating the release processes, on-call processes, anything that should be the part of the estate that usually doesn't take an account when you are क्या कहते हैं कि hiring estate or simply. So estate culture for me is the people that have the capability of software development engineer, but their focus is to solve the problem of testing, release engineering. In that way, I define software development engineering test. That's why I talk about more on system design, building your internal tools to have your testing productivity. That's I've told you that in the streaming we have built certain tool like Butler, Multiviewer. Then we built our own event automation framework. Then we have built our own system. Like it's like somebody product managers comes to you and say that SEO is the problem for me. Okay. I want to test that with the every release that SEO metadata that we are shipping in our website or that is up to the mark and my SEO scores are not getting down in that sense. Whatever the metadata object that they need to have in the page source should be available there. So as it should be capable enough to क्या कहते हैं कि automate that flow as well. That is the thing. Another thing is that if you want to solve or create a ROI from your क्या कहते हैं, automation testing data that you have in the place, then if you go about the principle of test ops or dev test op, whatever you want to call it, is that how frequent you can run your automated test case to have more ROI on the things. If you take in account, then CI comes into the place when there is a continuous integration that helps you out that with the each pull request that you have in the place you are able to run your test cases and give the faster feedback to your developers. Okay, then
Okay.
if you want to क्या कहते हैं, scale your CI/CD, because one of the problem that I've seen that most of the people that are working in QA get restricted is that they have only three or the four environment that is available there, whether it's like dev environment, QA environment, UAT environment, then is the production environment, and that are limited. Okay, but when you scale the things out, you have to manage your own test environments. On the fly, you should be able to create your own environments. And in DevOps term, it is called ephemeral environments, use and throw environments. So you need to have the knowledge about Kubernetes, then how your service is getting deployed. You need to have the knowledge about preceding of data so that on the fly you are able to create an environment from scratch, test your things out, then you can destroy that environment. Because you are the ones, you can't say that that is the job for DevOps, that it's a job of, you can say, somebody else to get these things. In that way, you need to create, as an SDET, you need to create an ecosystem around testing. And if I have to talk about in the coming years, if you go and think about that, what are the things that we are solving, and as an SDET, is that once your developer pushed any code to your repository, how fast you can ship that things with the quality to
Yeah.
your customers. That is what you're solving. So in short, is your developer productivity is there. That's why this whole concept is there. You need to give faster feedback to your developers. You need to run automation test cases as many as possible. In that way, all those principles has been derived from test ops.
Cool. Understood. A lot of questions coming in. I'll uh, just see once. Okay. If you can answer in brief, because now we're running out of time.
Sure.
So I just shared here. This is by Shashank. What are the KPIs you track during live streaming test? While we test streaming, what are the KPIs you track?
KPI, this I've told you the key metrics are your startup time, your buffering rate, what is there, is there any bad stream is there, black frames are there, um,
Frame per second.
yeah, the FPS frame per second that is there. In that way, you will be able to, these are the key matrices that we track on live stream.
Got it. Understood. Are there any resources? This is from Kerala. I'm mindful that I'm pronouncing this right. Do you have any resources or links which you can share? Let's say if you want to know more about streaming and tests.
Yes, I can. Probably I will share with the.
I'll share it with me. I'll share it with the folks, right? I'll share it with the folks. Kerala, Pramod will share with me, and I'll share with the people who attended this session. Uh, I think more or less this is done. I'll take the last question now. This is in my list only. Uh, Again, this is a hot topic which I talked to you about. How do you see AI being used in testing? What are the use cases which you are using right? And what kind of use cases do you see in future when I say AI, AI agents, agentic AI, whatever it is? Uh, how do you see AI being used in testing in future?
For I have been very, you can say, on the monitoring side of how AI is impacting testing and the release engineering is. So there are two use cases, pragmatic use cases that I've seen till now that is working very fine. And then I will jump into what are the use cases that will be gets mature in the coming 2 years. There are two things that I really see where AI is creating a lot of impact is first is in the visual regression that you are having, plus the Gen AI. Okay. Gen AI is to generate your test cases in that way. These are the two things where I can see you can trust or you can have like 60 to 70% use cases get solved using AI. But in the plus you need on the automation side I will say you can have the code blocks generated, you can get a scripts generated, but still you have to integrate them in your automation framework. But there are a lot of AI agents that is coming up that are very specific to solving the problems. Some of the AI agent use cases that I have demoed is that you just pass them the API and they will create the automated test case positive negative for your API. If you have to people have created the AI agent that will be very specific to testing a e-commerce app. There are AI agent that is very specific to testing the video players. Okay. And the another thing is that scripting part or the reliance on any automation tool will go away. That's my, in the coming years, it will be more on level language that will directly translate into, you can say, your automation script where you are able to run your test cases. So probably hinting towards there will be like no code tool to automate your test cases. Okay, that will I think, get there where you will be just having a design. You need to upload a design from Gen AI. They will be able to create the
Yeah.
test cases, and there will be a no code tool that will be directly automating those test cases. So in that way, in the coming 2 years, there are a lot of promising tool that is there available there, particularly for the web. It's pragmatic there and it's practical route right now. I have explored different tools that are in the place. So the thing is that for now we are capable enough and have the flexibility within code to test these things out. But particularly I will say in next 1 year there will be a lot more popular tools or no code tools better than you I will say than the existing automation framework or the way that we design page object model. Then we need to implement the heal framework, backup locator. These things will क्या कहते हैं कि go out. It will be like just click on second banner or just क्या कहते हैं कि test your video player controls. In that way the whole things will be automated. That is the next
Got
big thing that I can see in next 2 years.
got it. Understood. Understood. I think we are more or less good, Pramod. Now we're on time. We are 9:58. We're just on time now. So thank you so much, Pramod, for sharing this. I think you shared quite a lot of technical terms with people. Some of them might not have been known to people. Might They might not have understood this really well, but that's okay. The idea is to trigger enough interest in people to know how streaming works, or let's say trying to figure out how streaming works and go back and explore themselves and how does testing streaming works. Uh, and thank you to all of you for joining this session on a weekday evening. Always lovely hosting. Some of the questions were really solid, really curious questions came in today. And do share your feedback. Our team has dropped the link. It helps to get you better. It helps to get us better. It helps to get Pramod also better. And we have also shared Pramod's LinkedIn profile with all of you. So please feel free to connect with him. He keeps sharing knowledge. He's available on LinkedIn. I think he'll help you in as much as he can help.
Yeah, my
So
agenda
yeah,
was also to let you know not to talk about very generic things that you already
correct,
know.
correct,
Just to क्या
correct,
कहते
correct,
हैं,
correct.
have certain keywords that you get into the play and क्या कहते हैं कि just go on like how that ad tech work, what is
Yeah,
CUTI, what is protocol that is there. In that way, I want to just initiate curiosity in the क्या कहते हैं कि
yeah,
viewers that is listening to me so that they get even they get a one you can say keyword that they curious to know
correct.
about you, they will be saying that I have learned this new thing today. That was my whole agenda of having this AMA session.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much. And I think that's the purpose. Nobody can become an expert with a 1 hour session. It needs deep study, deep research, deep comprehension. But the purpose is to generate curiosity, generate interest for people to explore it later. So thank you once again, Pramod, and thank you all to all of you for joining in. We'll see you soon. We have three amazing events lined up for the next month. And I'll keep you posted about these events. Please feel free to follow us on social media and see the events which you have lined up for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for both, and thank you all.